Hello, friends. we are back. This is week 12, 13.
The story of a girl.
This is the story of a girl.
Not gonna lie, every single time you say "this is," which you do literally every time we start one of these div recaps, you go "this is," and you pause, and some part of my brain just goes "the story."
Yeah, it's one of those things where you sort of develop a speech pattern, and then you just keep doing it because it's what you're used to. Like half the sort of streamer YouTube video introductions that you get from people is not necessarily a conscious thing. They just always do it because it puts them in the mode of starting to do the stream thing or the video production, and then you become habit forming and just do the same thing all the time. It's interesting. A lot of them happen by accident. Where was I? Week 13. So the last week of predictions and stuff, because there's only 1 week to go in terms of actual games to be played. And then we'll come back and we'll do a shorter wrap-up one where we see who won our points total. It's probably going to be you at this point. But this week is our last week of looking at matches. So there's a couple matches that were certainly had playoff implications in both divisions. But we picked the ones that we think probably had the biggest playoff implications. But there's a lot of scenarios for both of these divs because they're so close in terms of who can go. They both have a large number of spots available, and they're also pretty tight for those spots. So there's a lot of things. So it's difficult to choose, but we've got a couple, and we are ready to take a look at them, I think. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Good to go.
Let's go. Dual game. Boom. First one is Rolling Red and Jimmy Burrito in REL 2A.
We did not predict this one because they played before recap.
Yeah, so we had to chase down Jimmy and get this replay special for you guys because has already expired by the time we got here. But we did because we thought this one had pretty serious playoff implications. If I go check, I want to go check really quick so I can be correct in my statements here about this. So yeah, they were both very close. Rolling Red and Jimmy are both top 4 as of last week, so this has some pretty big implications in terms of who gets to stay sort of in the top 3 playoff spots and who goes to 4th, which is something which is the Challengers Cup, something I'm intimately familiar with as I'm in that exact situation right now in 2B, where if certain people win or lose, myself included, it could be playoffs or Challengers Cup for me. So that's kind of the situation for this game. I'm ready to go. Are you? Shall we?
Yes, sir.
3, 2, 1, play. Got some turf here, like the hard death floor turf.
Yep, death floor turf for the Frenzy Lizards.
Astro Granite or whatever it is.
That are going to have to throw more GFI. The Lizards won the toss and the fame by virtue of having 10 fan factor to 9 because they both rolled the same thing. And Fogmire Fenbeasts chose to.
And the Lizards have picked up a Babe for this one. Makes sense. There is Claw Mighty Blow lying about, and that's something that Lizards are often terrified of, but with only 50k, it's kind of the best you can pick up.
I was going to say, the Saurus receiver we had sitting at the back there, the block, tackle, frenzy piece, that's a Francis Drake, an ex-player for the Street Sharks, my original team.
I like the one called More Bear. Or More Beer. Oh, that's less good. I thought it was More Bear. I misread it.
It's not often people wish for more bears.
I hope. Well, it depends on what community you're in.
Hey, look, having fame is good, though that was a bad pitch invasion, even by 5+ standards, to be honest.
Yeah, one of the wolves out. The white is out.
Well, just also he lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of his 11 players on a 5.
The plus side is he only has to take 1 line block now against Mighty Blow, and pitch invasions don't have Mighty Blow.
Yes, well, he did just get removed, but he came back, so there's all that.
He's all right.
He's all right.
Well, but yeah, I mean, losing that many players is pretty bad, especially since it's going to expose your Wolf to a Mighty Blow Blitz.
Mighty Blow Frenzy Blitz, even. So this is a Frenzy Trap.
Doesn't matter.
No, it's not. No, it is. It was a Frenzy Trap, but it is. That was a Lizard Dodge. Casual like.
And rerolls it with Pro, and it works.
Why? Why not just... Are you going to foul it? You are. I don't think the dodge was worth it for a +1. You haven't picked up the ball yet, son.
Well, to be fair, he can be super greedy this turn if he wants to, because the Necro literally don't. They have 2 flesh golems on their feet, and that's it.
They have no like possibility of like getting back at you, but
they're not going to even be able to like make blocks, let alone do anything useful.
That's fair. I think I don't even hate committing hard to the foul, given the total lack of like repercussions.
It's super greedy.
I don't love the 5+ dodge.
Well, there's a 4+ dodge. I mean, it was an incredibly greedy play, and it may have, and it didn't. I mean, it worked out, certainly, having knocked out the wolf.
It's worth noting the foul was a 6+, and you rolled a 6.
Very, very greedy play, but spotting those, like, this is super greedy, but if it works, I'm in a good spot, and if it fails, it doesn't really change a whole lot type situations is
I think you were
interesting.
In a lot better spot if you just accepted that you weren't going to have that +1, and instead, fouled anyway after you picked up the ball.
It turns out, without that +1, he wouldn't have gotten it, though.
I agree, but that's not good analysis.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Second hit for the Frenzy is not good either. Rerolls it with Pro, still not good.
Does he have Juggernaut? No, so choosing not to stand firm both times there.
I mean, it does now leave this Saurus exposed.
Although if you chose to stand firm... Oh, no, I guess it doesn't make a difference.
I think we're going to see a beautiful, beautiful skink foul again on a wolf.
Yeah, might as well. Wolves on the ground are the scariest pieces to you. Get them off the field. Like that.
Oh. Well, that's a regen, but...
Well, it turns out not having an entire half of the only claw on the team means these lizards are in, like, it's a good position to be in as the lizards. Like, those are the only players they're scared of, really. Now they just get to bully their way around, and they can probably stall till turn 8 without that much difficulty, honestly.
Classic lizard move.
Yeah, they're just going to bully the other team while hiding out in the corner. Well, that's unfortunate.
Jump skull from the Havarti makes you... Follows up, which is brave. I guess he's going to try to get... No, he's not going to get some sort of blitz here. Oh, he's going for the 4+, no reroll, hit on the ball. Rolls it both down, which is good enough.
Stuns himself. What is this game? It's turn 2, and we've seen 2 Flesh Golem dodges and a Saurus dodge rerolled with Pro that worked, such that we could get an assist on a foul. Is this Imperium?
Starting to feel that way. Now, the lizards have pretty good recovery, but they are now down their super
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. The fucking injury dice from these lizards.
I mean, at least regen is good.
Regen has been incredibly on point, but I don't know that they've had a stun yet outside of the...
Pitch invasion. Well, I mean...
a steady stream of removals.
If your opponent is only going to roll injuries, I suppose...
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Again, though, regen.
I mean, what I was going to say is that if your opponent is only going to roll removals, at least you're getting infinite regens out of it, which is kind of nice. You'd prefer not removals, but on the other hand, I'd also like my team to not be dead.
This Havarti is a real beast.
One-man team.
Wasn't one die. Unfortunately, gets the knockdown on the one die.
Oh, is it an injury? A stun! We have a stun. Got a stun, boys. These lizards are putting on their mittens.
Francis Drake can't get the injury. Doesn't believe hard enough. He's the frenzy. He's the most reasonable Frenzy-saurus on the team. Ergo, he doesn't have what it takes to punch like the big boys. Skink going in for a casual one die,
which we then reroll, which seems odd to me, but
I mean, he doesn't need the rerolls. I guess he's going to be in a very dominant position. But I probably, well, I don't know, but I might have taken. That is a block zombie taking down a Croc, stunning a Croxagore.
Taking down Dwarf Peep the Great.
Trying to minimize blocks here. That's all this was about.
Yeah, I think so.
Could have taken a 2-die on a skink first, and I might have done that.
Yeah, at this point, you're just trying to minimize damage because you've accepted that you kind of lost this half. You've got 2 flesh golems and 4
Kinda
zombies.
lost. Kinda lost. I don't alarm you, but it would appear that zombie did not die.
Well, his armor wasn't broken, so, you know, we can't really count
Probably
that one
gonna
against
foul
him.
it.
Again, we do have a send-off skink, and one of that, if we foul again, we're left, and he gets sent off and that KO doesn't come back, we're left with 1 skink, which is kind of terrifying.
Don't foul regen players with your, like, few remaining skinks.
No, I don't think it's a good idea.
I get the, like, foul the wolf thing, but even that is a little...
I would foul the wolf. Like, the wolves are super important, but like fouling a regen zombie with one of your potentially 2 skinks if KOs don't go well for you is not a situation that you want to be in. That's basically like
it's a bold move.
Cotton.
Russellfoot the sea butter coming in with it.
Some high flying action.
More beer getting punched by probably not provolone, the star flesh.
I thought that was Havarti makes you farty.
They're both kind of wonderful, actually. They both dodged. They both, like... Oh, there's another bonehead. The Croc's not cooperating.
Give him a boot.
The Flesh Golems are the only players on this team that I've seen
do anything. Yeah. Well, when your entire team gets pitch invaded, stunned, and then removed one by one.
He is pow fishing here. I mean, he's gonna have him pinned, so it doesn't really matter. But that is, yeah, that's not gonna work. That will, though. Reroll it.
It didn't break armor, though.
I like you said, like, you're surprised that the armor 9 held.
I kind of am at this point.
Francis Drake getting a shot. No armor break. Worst.
Foul the Crocs. 10 plus foul.
Do you believe in miracles?
I believe in miracles.
Dodge.
Again.
Flesh Golem.
Didn't blitz though, but he also can't make it, so it doesn't matter.
There's no one you can blitz. I mean, it was a 4+ with a built-in reroll, so it wasn't that bad.
No, it's a 75%.
Trying to force the score here.
It is turn 6 somehow already. Probably because there are no players for the Necro.
Nothing to do on anyone's turn. He is kind of effectively forcing the score. If they can get a... No, I mean, I guess it's going to be pretty tough here to get a hit on this ball.
Well, if he leaves... Yeah, I mean, well, he has once again the 50% shot right now if he just leaves it where it is.
It's true.
Or 75%.
Probably go for that. Blitzing the wrong player here. Shouldn't be blitzing this zombie, the one that has a hit on the ball.
Well, the Flesh Golem also has a hit on the ball, does he not? With 1 dodge?
No, because he would be dodging through diving tackle.
Where's the diving tackle? Oh, it's on the skink. Yes, you're right. Yeah, so it's the zombie dodge that you just commit a reroll to.
Yep, exactly.
Worst case, you force the score.
Through... Oh, he's going okay. He's going to the skink.
He's going to hit the skink. I feel like I would have tried the zombie dodge, maybe.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Is you worst case? I mean, well, you fail the dodge and it doesn't change anything, but either you knock him down or you could potentially push him in and force the score, and then you get your whole team back, which is a pretty big deal, especially with those wolves. You could 2-turn.
As it is, this is not too hard to clear off with tackle, mighty blow.
No,
you did need a knockdown there, so that's actually pretty good. This is not a break tackle Saurus.
No, it is not.
He might just throw the 5+.
I would have considered re-rolling that.
Oh, he's now gonna try to. He's gonna try to 1-die.
Just a stun.
He's gonna try to 1-die the Blodger.
I feel like
the Blodge Firm guy.
I feel like re-rolling the first block to free up that Saurus was probably a better plan.
This is gonna be neat. Not sure what's happening here.
We can't get another assistant, can we? No, we're just gonna try to 1-die it.
Pow, and does not find it.
Loses the skink too. We could be down to 1 next half if those KOs don't come back. Rolling Red is a madman. Like, look at his team. It's Frenzy Saurus. It's very unconventional, and it has worked for a lot of the season.
It's the reroll. Jesus, wow.
Not punished.
2 failed 75%.
Oh, there's the zombie dodge. And he's injured!
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is going to be the first regen fail. It's an agi bust, yeah.
Yep, it's the first regen fail, but he caused it himself. So really, the trick is don't injure yourself, let your opponents injure you, and then your regens work.
Alright, so that was Rolling Red getting bailed out just a bit, shall we say. 4 dice with block tackle. Well, no, actually, it wasn't 75%, it was 55, because he doesn't have... he doesn't have tackle. So,
he does not.
Sorry, 2 consecutive 55.
Push him into the end zone. Oh. There's the touchdown. That could have gone very poorly for Rolling Red.
Right, and there's no reason it needed to be dangerous given how dominant he was. He basically was like, there are 4 remaining players on this pitch. I'm going to cover them with 18 lizards.
That could have gone really wrong.
I mean, if that flesh golem had, like, in the world where that flesh golem...
Oh, did I call that or did I call that? Both skinks stayed out.
In a world where the flesh golem even got an armor break on that skink, like, the lizards didn't score 45% of the time, right? They had a reroll for an attempted pickup, but that's 5+ pickup only works.
And well done to Jimmy Burrito there for like actually making that for actually having a chance to stop the score there, considering his team was 2 flesh golems and 4 zombies.
Definitely did not give up. Now, this is what Necro thrive. This is the kind of conditions that Necro thrive in, right? They're only going to have 1 Claw Mighty Blow hit, sadly, but they are going to be able to Claw Palm a Saurus and Foul a Saurus. So, probably going to be pretty happy with this. Is he going to try to 1-turn?
He might. It could be pretty difficult against the Strength 4 and with the Stand Firm Crocs, but it's not unreasonable with movement 8, but it's also not easy.
Not easy, no, definitely.
Then again, I feel like I would probably...
He wants to win. Like, his goal in this game is, I think...
Winning matters a lot here, and I feel like I would take the attempt at a 1-turn to put yourself in a good position over getting 1 Claw Mighty Blow hit. Like, 1 Claw Mighty Blow hit is not going to save you at this point. Like, it could be good, but I think trying the 1-turn is better.
He needs to fix this, or else he doesn't have a 2.
Yeah, that's not a 2-die right now.
The blitz onto Francis Drake to push him into the cage.
High kick is a thing that gets us started here.
Starts it off with a 1-die. Gets the push he needs, though.
Oh, you're ahead. I just saw the high kick fail catch, so here's the 1-die. Yeah, we do find the push, so that works out. Although, does he need those players back there to, like, could he not have afforded it? Well, he had an extra zombie. Why not use that zombie? That's a POW. Rerolls into a skull. Never mind.
His wolf punch, but El Padrecito is...
He's fine. He's just a stun this time.
Honestly, that was so unlikely. I think I probably would have gone for damage. Like, I think that's how you beat the lizards here.
I don't know if... It was very unlikely, but, like, your damage was... your best chances at damage were 1 Claw Mighty Blow hit and a foul.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Pretty good odds. It's a Claw Palm hit.
Was it Palm?
Yeah, also I would not have re-rolled the POW that early.
The skinks are still out. There's only 1 skink.
I would not have re-rolled it that early in the attempt, I think. If I got that POW with the Palmer, I would have taken that as Divine Providence that I was not going to get the many rolls to come, and I would just...
I think I agree with that. I think I would. I like the setup for the 1-turn, but then just, like, don't commit incredibly hard to it. Like, if it goes really well, then yeah, sure, use the reroll for, like, the catch at the end or maybe the dodge. But if you find that POW earlier, just switch over to damage mode. Like, hit something with the werewolf and then give it a stomp. I think that I like that play the best, probably. Because you get a shot at both things that way, really.
This one lonely skink smuggling plums. The
lonely skink is smuggling plums. I mean, the good news is for Rolling Red, I guess, he's already scored, so only having 1 skink doesn't hurt him as bad as it would if this was switched and it was his offensive drive now. But it's still certainly not great.
And I don't think he has much right to complain about anything, though, so...
No, we're going to get at least 1 Claw Mighty Blow hit here, and probably a foul. If we
Not elect to block the LOS. Does he not have the guard to do this, right?
no, he can do it.
Nice.
If he uses a flesh golem, he can hit Thulek with one of the flesh golems and then use guard. But you have to hit him with a rookie, and that's not block, which is kind of scary, I guess. Where's that going? That's a touchback. Is it to the ghoul? That makes sense. Not taking the opportunity to like have the free pickup on somebody you want SPP on, but at this point, when these games have pretty serious playoff implications, I think the better choice is to give it to the guy who's most likely to score with it.
Gives his flesh golem to a tackle mighty blow hit for the sake of hitting the worst Saurus. I don't know.
Well, it's also like the easiest Saurus to frenzy claw palm.
Yes, but he didn't need that. He didn't need that. The Blodge one that is now basing tackle mighty blow.
No, he did not, because even if you just got the push there,
2 assists. Yeah.
even if you just got the push there, you still have the assists. Not finding the claw hit, but we can foul him with this zombie. But I feel like you might want to use him for defense rather than fouling. And by defense, I mean screening. And by screening, I mean only sort of screening. Well, it's probably good enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because the only way the Saurus do anything.
He just rerolled. What? He's got a follow-up hit with block with tackle frenzy, but elects to What?
He was trying to free him up so maybe he could hit the ball with that Saurus, but that would have involved dodging, which is not really something you want to do with the Saurus, so I'm kind of confused. The other option would have been to go for it with the Skink, but that's uphill against Blodge, and that's not
I
great.
have feelings. I would not have stood firm there.
We know you have feelings.
So filled with feelings.
Only some of us robots don't have feelings. That's not true, I have feelings. Even as a robot. Why did you bring me crackers? I mean, I'm gonna eat them, but thank you. I feel like I'm 10 again. I was brought, like, soda cracker things with peanut butter on them.
Did you often drink?
I did not have a crystal glass full of rum when I was 10, though. It's the best kind of crackers, too. They're like the saltines with peanut butter. It's like perfect 10-year-old food. It's amazing.
It's a 1-die claw palm hit on a Proxigor, but not getting anything for it.
We do find a stun, and we pile on that stun into not changing anything.
And we're basing the break tackle strength 5 source and hoping that's going to be enough.
Well, we can also get in the way with the wolf.
We are sort of in the way.
Well, that's not. I think you need to be back 1 square there, right? Because right now...
Yeah, because right now he can
do this with 1 dodge, and that's the weakness of break tackle players, is making them make more than 1 dodge.
Yeah, so he needed to base this skink here so that he could get a 2-die, but it is still a 2-die looking for a POW.
Could he have gone around the 1, 2... Yeah, you needed to have the ghoul 1 space further back.
That's a ball going out.
You're still ahead. There's the break tackle. Re-rolls it, finds the POW. Fends, and the ball scatters out. Where does it scatter out to? Directly into the hands of a white, but he fails the pickup. Or the catch. Yeah, that ghoul needed to be 1 space back, so that Saurus would have had to make 2 dodges to pull off that block. And most break tackle players are low agi, so they're not going to want to make 2 dodges to do a thing, because it's unlikely that they make both. So if that ghoul is 1 space, I'm pretty sure I'm right. I haven't checked every opportunity, and it was like a turn ago at this point. But I'm pretty sure I'm right in that having the ghoul here stopped that hit. Although the Croxagore has break tackle too. But he would have had to roll GFIs to do it, right? No. But he doesn't have block or tackle. I think I'd rather take the hit from the Crocs. Anyway, that's a lot of analysis for something that happened a while ago. Wolf tries to pick up the ball and fails, but does re-roll it and grabs it. And gets going forward. I'm going to take a Mighty Blow hit with tackle on this skink, which is pretty terrifying considering there's only one skink. Would you take the break tackle hit here on the ball? It's dodging into 2 tackle zones, but if you don't...
2 tackle zones with strength 5, but it's also into tackle.
Yeah, but it's really the only option he has.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it was only a 3+, I guess.
But he had to do this, or else the Necro just score. He had no other way to stop that. So I think you probably try that. You can attempt to dodge out and pick up now at the skink as well, but it's off tackle, which is terrifying.
Doesn't matter. Gets it easy. 3+, no problem.
Oh. Well, fails that part.
Now makes it an easy 3+ to score.
Well, he was going for the put myself in the corner, so you have to surf me, and then maybe the ball gets scattered out play, but he failed the
I get what he was
geofine.
going for, but on a failed 2+, which he did.
Well, even on a failed 2+, there was a 3 and 8 of it going out as well. Like, I think that was the right play. It just, he got unlucky with that part. But he got lucky with the earlier parts of the turn, so it's fine. It all evens. Sure hands? Makes it. Good thing he had sure hands. So thick, rich, and creamy makes it 1-1.
Still, this is pretty good for the Lizards. They get another chance at getting their KOs back. Skinks are good at scoring quickly.
That's very true.
Of them. I'm ahead, I know. I'm going to pause when I get to this.
We're in Necro setup now.
I got an achievement apparently for causing 5 casualties in one game. I just played. Did I call it Cas 5 players? I don't think I did.
Yeah, you did. You cast my Saurus, and then he appled him. You cast 2 stunties, and you killed the Croxagore.
That's 4.
Must have been another one.
Well, I guess so. Well, I've got.
Like we can check
money.
after if you want.
It's fine. I trust the bot.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Money.
I got suffer 5 casualties and win.
Nice.
Which is worth 5 coins. Which is the same amount as just causing the 5 casualties.
Harder though, so it's probably better.
Oh, I got a booster pack though, because I've scored 5 touchdowns with violence together.
What is happening? Is he just basing?
Yes.
Oh, so we can hit the. All right.
Okay, well, it worked.
Well, thankfully, regen is a skill.
Again, this regen has been ridiculous this game.
Yeah. That was a non-mighty blow hit on AV8.
Failed to pick up, though. Not that it matters. That's actually... Not that it matters, really. The Necro can't get to the ball, currently.
I mean, it is true that he perhaps underestimated the speedy nature of lizards.
Perhaps. Bring that white back to try and be a bit of a safety for this when the skink inevitably runs forward for the quick touchdown attempt. I understand what he's doing here, but the white's not the best safety. Doesn't have tackle, and he's going forward with the wolf to try to put pressure on the ball, but that skink is not likely to fail a pickup again, and then it's probably going to get out of range.
That far, though.
Can he get... He can probably get himself pretty safe, though.
Skinks are as fast as wolves, and the wolves is one space farther forward. Wow, regen.
Again.
Jesus.
Again with the regen. Yeah. We can prehensile tail up that wolf, though.
So then it's a 75%.
But more importantly, he's going to have to dodge out and around and take up some of his movement unless he wants to dodge through all of the tackles out.
He's going to blitz the wolf.
That also helps.
Going to be GFIs, though.
That'll do it.
He rolls it.
And removes him, too.
Jesus Christ.
These,
Man.
they have gotten
just god tier removal dice.
Yeah. I mean, they do have a decent amount of Mighty Blow, but this is...
There's no amount of Mighty Blow in the world that validates this.
I mean, I guess the Necro are making all the regens, which is like a small comfort, but it doesn't necessarily help you win the game. It just helps you not be dead for next round.
It's one of those like weird small comforts where you're like, gosh, it's so great that I'm making all these regens for these ridiculous removal dice I'm receiving. It's like, oh, yeah. Yes, that's silver. It's like when people say, oh, well, you got cast 10 times, but they were all badly hurt, so...
I mean, you probably lose the game, but at least you're fine for next week. The problem is Jimmy Burrito really wanted this game to go better for him. I mean, it's not over yet, certainly. He's but this is the kind of game that both players really want to win. So like all the removals are not helping you win this game, which is kind of what you care about.
Yeah, I mean, when your best play is to
zombie dodge.
Yeah.
6+ zombie dodge and re-roll it.
He was going for broke there.
Yeah.
This guy had guard? He does not. He didn't even need the white assist.
Nope. Why not just blitz with the white then?
The white couldn't reach. Oh no, the white could reach. That's true. I think there might have just been some tilt.
Well, we are gonna, if we can punch this white away, which we don't because you stand
frenzy.
firm.
Why didn't you
stand firm?
Yeah, but he could have just pushed and then gone it again. He didn't need to commit the
that's true.
What? What?
Skink does make some forward progress, and with the ridiculous removal dice that have happened here, the Necro don't have much of a shot at stopping this.
This looks like a 2-1 now. Will Francis Drake be successful in his brave 1 dice? Not yet. Nah, there it is. Gets the 50% on the second go. Doesn't get a removal though, as the official worst source on this team.
What an idiot.
I'm agree.
I mean, yeah, this white can't do...
Oh, he's all their players up. 5+2+2+, easy game.
Well, he's movement 5, so he can't even like do anything threatening. So the lizards can just run away, and then Necro cannot do anything about it.
If lizards get ahead on the board, it's really tough to do anything about it because of their high movement.
Yeah, and the Necro have had all of their high movement pieces removed because the lizards' removal dice have been insane. Hot Drops is stunned. Are we gonna surf the white? No, that's not a frenzy piece, so no, we're not. Hot Drops was your blitzer? Oh.
Money Blow not getting anything done this turn. Will Francis Drake stop stuff? He won't.
Well, he got a knockdown.
That's fine. That's not what this team is about, Ben. This team is about removing people.
Apparently.
From existence, preferably. I don't know what this zombie's doing other than baiting an armor roll when his armor's...
Well,
don't hit Francis Drake. He's the worst. Alright.
Got him. The key for Francis Drake is to be the one who gets hit, and then you get...
Still didn't get a removal. Stuns are worth nothing.
That's true. And that's a touchdown. Lizards go up 2-1. On the back of, frankly, some ridiculous removals.
Yeah, and that's going to be game.
Certainly is.
So we will...
Bring up the title screen. Yeah. Well, I will in a second.
We didn't predict that one, so
oh yes,
went very, very heavily in the Lizards' favor, kind of from the get-go for all.
Yeah, we didn't predict that one, so we don't need to check out those things. But we can go into what our other match is over in Div 1.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can, you say? What a segue. And two, what is Khemri do it? Yes, we can. We have watched them before this season, but they were they're near the top of the table, battling it out with Travel Scrabble for that first place and therefore that bye spot. So the matches are pretty important here for McMacky to win, to hold on to that over Travel Scrabble, who is hot on his tails. And you know, the other he is guaranteed to go to playoffs at this point, I believe, regardless of how this match turns out. But positioning certainly matters. And it actually makes a pretty big difference for Khaleric's chances as well if he wins this one. So there's a number of things here that could go, that could cause different playoff scenarios to happen. And that's a Mighty Zug.
Is indeed. The not quite an ogre.
I mean, he's like better than an ogre.
He's just an ogre with no thick skull and no bonehead. Alright, you ready to
Yep.
get this guy?
I mean, he's an ogre with block, with no thick skull and no bonehead.
Khemri chose to receive, and Khemri have the fans, I think. Yeah.
Khaleric has both Zug and the Wizard.
Alright, let's do this.
Oh, yes. All right. 3, 2, 1, play. So if Mackie wins this one, he's pretty much solidly on top of the table. Travel Scrabble would be able to catch up still if Mackie loses next week. But a loss here could certainly swap the top positions. So we'll see what happens. Similar.
And for the record, we predicted the Khemri would win.
Both of us did?
We did.
That doesn't seem like something I would do. Apparently
We
it was,
somehow
though.
predict the ogres would win.
Ogres?
I know. I'm just joking because you always predict the ogres will win.
Oh, yes, I would have, if there were ogres. Well, if I had known that Khaleric was going to induce the Mighty Zug, I would have bet on him, because he's kind of an ogre.
It's true. It's true. I'm gonna use the watch while they finish setting up.
Okay. This should be interesting. McMacky is certainly very good at the Khemri positioning game, like making sure those Tomb Guardians are nice and spread out, difficult to deal with, but also close enough that they're not easy to isolate. But Khaleric has got some crazy speed and agi on his side with these blitzers. It's pretty serious what these blitzers are able to do. Movement 7 over the Khemri, a couple agi 4 pieces. Perfect D is certainly going to help. We can get away from all those Tomb Guardians. At least most of them. And unfortunately, the throw raw fails the catch. So he's going to have to pick it up the old-fashioned way. This matchup was a 2-1 win for McMacky in Season 10 Div 2, so they've played each other before. And if history says anything, it would be McMacky that takes it. So we will see.
Oh, I missed a perfect defense, I see.
You did.
And a failed catch from the kickoff return. Broham, it is too hot here, man. It is really
Correct.
impacting my ability to... It's like 30 degrees today. Your least favorite temperature.
Yes, I hate that temperature.
Just that one.
Well, anything over like 27 really, and I want to die. It's your fault for living in a hot place in Canada, because those exist. Although I suppose you live in an extreme place, it's very cold in the winter.
It is indeed. Using grab here to get some nice extra hits. 3 die finally.
And easy peasy pickup on the ball there. No problem. Not even using sure hands.
You're a bit ahead of me, but that's fine.
Totally fine. Hey look, Juggernaut. That's a skill. Doesn't really accomplish much there. I mean, it cancels Fend, right? But it's not like he wanted to follow that. So it doesn't really change much there, but we do see the Juggernaut pop up. We do get to punch the Tomb Guardian. Oh boy, what a hero peasant!
I mean, see it. I assume he gets a removal.
I will wait until you see that.
I did choose to give this hit away. It must be noted.
It's a KO. I mean, it's not a serious removal, but it's one less Tomb Guardian, which is actually really serious.
It is a hit he didn't need to give.
That's true. Here comes a Mighty Blow hit on a skeleton, which is armor 7 after all. And we do break armor, but no removal this time.
There were 2 Mighty Blow hits on skeletons. It likes to only make it a 1 die. Doesn't want to expose another blitzer.
Which I kind of agree with. I mean, he's got block for the 1 die, and the blitzers are the key to this game for him.
Yeah, I mean, they are for sure.
If he loses one,
he's very grouped up though, which is not a great strategy against Khemri, who just really want somewhere to throw all their Tomb Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, if I were the Khemri coach this turn, what I would do is blitz Scrape Grace Sellsword. Oh, he's gonna hit the peasant, electing to hit the armor 7, which is also a good choice. One of those 2 guys. More likely to get a removal on the peasant, and then I would just start going up this left side, getting those like Tomb Guardians involved. But you can also sort of cage your way up a bit, get yourself nice and safe.
Getting another free hit here as well on a peasant, so the chain push or giving him another Mighty Blow hit.
That's a skull.
He doesn't want a 9.
Yeah,
takes it. I think I would have rerolled that.
You guys are both correct. There was a chain push there, which is better. Turns out when casting games, you don't look at all the opportunities like you do when you're playing because you don't have as much time. Especially from replays. Well, in what seems to be a pattern in this game, we get more double skulls. Which is real nice for McMacky here. We can block some of these guys. We have a couple of good hits.
The Bretonnians basically don't get a turn here.
Yeah, and the Khemri get a couple nice juicy targets to punch with Mighty Blow, and then they can make some good forward progress if they really want to, while keeping
they can tackle palm hit on the blodge step.
That's a dead peasant. Just dead. Khemri don't get skeletons though, sadly.
They do not. They are not that sort of undead.
No.
Doesn't follow it up though, so does not get the tackle palm hit from the angle I was looking at. It's not going to take it. I think I would have gone.
Oh, that's okay. Well-armored pimp also goes down.
Electing to go for the guard over the blodger.
Yeah, the sort of lore there is that the Khemri are not just standard undead. They're ancient races that were sort of cursed and raised up or whatever. So they can't use any body. They're like ancient spirits inhabiting particular bodies.
They cursed by the vampires?
The original, one of the first vampires, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not quite the same as most undead, which are also kind of cursed by vampires.
Yeah, it's like an ancient race thing, and so like it has to be the souls of that race inhabiting their old bodies, not like just animated corpses. Exactly. Khemri don't want your weak ass dead. They only want noble fancy undead, or like the slaves of the noble fancy undead, which are what the like skeletons are. Yeah, McMacky able to make quite a bit of forward progress here and make sure he's nice and safe. Having the Bretonnians kind of confined to one side of the pitch.
Mighty blow hit here, but he is fine.
And keeping himself pretty safe. Getting the Tomb Guardians tied up with players to force them to either dodge or get punched. Mighty Zug also just tied up by a skeleton, but he's making him sad. God, Zug is such a cool model.
You are not wrong.
I like his bling. Got a big old necklace that says Zug on it.
Yeah, and branding's important.
Block Tomb Guardian doing a thing. Regular old skeleton doing a thing. He who fiddles unseen. Now we get to take a Mighty Blow hit on one of the important players, Arthur Pendragon. Push him into the Tomb Guardian so we can maximize those Mighty Blow hits on him.
This next one's not going to be tackle, though, so he needs a POW.
That is true, and you can't actually go very far forward with this throw raw without being exposed here, so he elects to kind of stay where he is. Move a bit sideways, reconsolidate his forces, as it were.
Does get a 3-die, though, and finds the POW.
No result, though.
Arthur Pendragon with his armor 7 is fine.
But McMacky doing well to maximize his blocks here and trying to get as many removals as possible. We do fail the GFI and reroll it and tripwire again. That's a Snake Eyes.
So was this to a foul?
I feel like it was.
Yeah, with Dirty Player. He's coming in to foul the Arthur Pendragon. I would have rerolled that GFI as well. If you're gonna greed something, greed that foul for sure.
That seems like a good option. I mean, you were gonna get an extra. You had at least one assist on it, and he's armor 7 and Dirty Player, so armor hitting. It's like hitting armor 6 with Mighty Blow. Yeah, you take that.
Strong Arm Sammy going down and can end out.
Arthur Pendragon getting out of that situation.
Mighty Zug freed from captivity.
We are quickly running out of Bretonnians, though.
We are indeed.
To the point where we take an uphill on a Tomb Guardian. Although it is with block, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Having to reroll it, unfortunately.
He does have to elect to reroll, or to commit a reroll to it, I should say. So he's now down to 1 reroll for 4 turns.
Yeah, non-ideal, but could be worse, I guess, but let's see. He still has a wizard available that we can't discount. Wizard against...
Electing to continue to get value out of this Juggernaut. Scapegrace Sellsword not going down this.
Wizard against a Khemri, against a wizard against Khemri, not wizard against a Khemri. It's pretty good, because you get the ball on the floor, they have to roll their pickups again. Especially when you have Agi4 recovery options. So the wizard is a pretty big threat here that McMacky certainly has to be careful to play around. Making sure those peasants aren't free, I think, is a good idea, because they are behind where there is a lot less defense for McMacky.
Facing up. Oh no, this is fine.
So we can hit the skeleton, and then blitz the Tomb Guardian with Zug. Ugh, that's not ideal. We would have really loved a knockdown there. Dauntless, failure, so we're gonna have to uphill it, but we don't fail at least. The other thing is, especially as Khemri, they're gonna want to score on turn 7 because of that wizard, but it looks like they're not going to because he's out of range currently. Or at least not without GFIs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stop rolling things. He needs 1 GFI currently, which isn't the worst, I guess, especially if you have rerolls. But if you don't score on turn 7, the Bretonnians probably just lightning bolt you and force you to try to pick up on turn 8 or lose. And especially with if that lightning bolt results in an armor break on the throw raw, then picking up is not exactly trivial. A little bit of a desperate use of a wizard potentially, but I feel like you might. It's not something you don't consider. Double negatives
Yeah, I
here.
don't even think about it, but yeah, I don't think it makes sense in this case.
It's something definitely to consider and think about. Depending on how this turn goes, I guess you can get some potential recovery.
They could have gotten a really nice 7-man Bretonnian fireball.
That's true.
It's rolling a lot of pushes.
Peasants are heroes, though, as we all know. True heroes, the Bretonnian team. With their stupid run animations and their terrible noises.
Oh.
Ah! Ah! skull.
One die skull. That's a one die flip down. Sounds like he's dying, not being like softly wrestled to the floor. Coming in for a blitz hit on Wrecking Ball Ron. This is a very important target, so I think I like this a lot.
Yeah, we send him down. And we can get in the way a little bit.
He's not out though, Seth. Red die not getting a knockdown, and Sellsword is alright.
And that's not actually in the way. The Khemri can score here. And they probably want to consider it, because if they try, they might have a difficult time stalling here.
No, Bretonnian 2-turn is pretty good though. I don't know, I'd be scared.
I'd be scared either way, honestly. The Bretonnians have a wizard, so if you don't score here, they can wizard you, and they have 2 Agi 4 blitzers that are very in range of the ball. If this is an armor break, maybe you consider stalling, and it's not. So since we haven't eliminated the threat of those blitzers, I feel like I'd want to score here, but I'm not a Khemri player, so I don't know a whole lot. But I'd be pretty scared of not scoring here, so we'll see what happens.
The problem with scoring here is as Khemri, is you never want to give your opponent a chance to outscore you, because you literally have no countermeasures.
I mean, it's true, but if you don't, we have Agi 4. Is it on tackle? Nah, the Agi 4 is on tackle. I think you're... Oh, we went for the touchdown. Failed the GFI, and does make it though. I think this is probably what I would have done. It's debatable, I guess, but this is what I think I would have done. Just because I'm terrified of the wizard. If that wizard, because if I were the Bretonnians, I probably would have lightning bolted a stall there, and if that's an armor break on armor 7, the Khemri are suddenly in a lot of trouble for scoring on their half, and then the don't let your opponent outscore you problem becomes much worse. The Tomb Guardian staying out is a pretty big deal as well. The Bretonnians do have an option for a 2-turn here, which is a little scary for the Khemri, considering we have 2 Agi 4 movement 8 players.
Khemri are going to do their best to be completely in the way here, I think.
Yeah, the big ol' spread out defense play. Throw the stand firm if you can, and the strength on the outsides.
Try to force them in the middle where you've got more strength.
Yep.
That's not forcing it. I might consider putting the... McMacky not sure exactly what he wants to do here.
That's a tough decision. You want the Tomb Guardians on the outside so that, you know, they're not easy to shove out of the way for the Bretonnians to get past. But if you put them on the side, considering you have an even or an odd number of them, one side is inherently going to have less strength on it, and they're not going to be able to reposition. What he's doing here
is he's setting up, he's forcing the Bretonnians basically to go to this left-hand side. And it is exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares. So unless he's doing GFIs here, he's going to be surfable or based up on this wrestle tackle skeleton. So you're forcing the blitz onto the wrestle tackle skeleton, and you're forcing the Khemri or the Bretonnians to cage up here. However, I think he's a bit too far. I think he makes it too easy. Too much. He's giving too much space on the side for the Bretonnians to just literally cage up. Yeah. He's gonna have a hard time reasonably getting in front of that ball, I think.
He has most of his tackle on that side too, so like he's doing a pretty good job at like the overall positioning there. But yeah, like you said, I think that might be a problem. The touchback is going to be a thing that makes it a bit easier for the Bretonnians as well. One less dice to roll. When you have no rerolls, that's a pretty big deal.
One or more dice, really. Could have been passes and stuff.
True. At least one dice.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to see a gratuitous basing, I think, here is the technical term.
He multiplied the number of dice he needed to get the ball in the hands of the player he wanted by 0. So we find the POW on the wrestle skeleton. We can't quite literally cage, but almost.
We can effectively cage.
We can literally cage with some rerolls or some GFIs, but I mean, effectively cage and screen here.
Now the problem I'm seeing is that the Khemri have a pretty reasonable screen here if they want it, but I think they're going to go all man. Certainly what it looks like.
Yeah, they make it hard for the
Fend here being really annoying.
Yeah, it really is. You can't mark up as much as you'd like with Fend.
Oh, and he gets a chain push here to push the ball out of scoring range? No, it's still in scoring range.
And he can't push away both of the blitzers and who are in scoring range. But it is one less option.
Yeah, so that was nice. That was a nice use of a chain push to push the ball one square back.
It's
not technically out of range. Isn't it? I thought he could go...
No, it's out of range for the movement 7 blitzer.
Oh, he was exactly in range. Yeah, you're totally right.
He can hand off... The other blitzer's still in range, so he can hand off to Companion, but that's a 1 in 9 that he now has to roll that he wouldn't have had to before, plus all the stuff in the way.
Yeah, I mean, your best bet there... Jesus.
We don't have guards, so I think we're gonna have to I think we have to 1-die Wrecking Ball Ron. Right?
Okay, well, that was the pace you needed to score on, so that's not happening. Or is he doing some chain push?
He could also wizard.
Oh, he might be trying to chain push this peasant into range? No, he was just... Yes, he's trying to chain push this peasant into range.
You're ahead a bit.
I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but that seems to be what he's doing. No, I might be...
A peasant is in range now with that chain push. And... if we blitz the guy... Oh, this is kind of clever. If we blitz that... I didn't even see this. If we blitz this... this... What's-his-face? Blitzer out of the way.
You only have to do a 4+4+.
Well, it's a 4+2+2+.
No, because you need to dodge.
He doesn't need to dodge anymore because he blitzed him out of the way, right?
No, he totally needed to dodge there. He dodged that corner.
Oh, you're still way ahead of me then. Yeah, we do need to... if we... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7...
4+2+2+ with a reroll. He had no spare movement. He couldn't go diagonally.
Okay. Well, he made it.
Yeah, that was a good chain pushes spotted by both teams.
Pretty clever there. It was more likely to work than the trying to go with the blitzer, I think. The 4+ is a little scary, but it worked out, so that was kind of cool.
Caller when the setup starts, because I just skipped to it rather than try to reset.
Fair enough. We move into halftime 1-1, and we're going into the Bretonnian drive, which is pretty good for the Bretts. Pretty classic 2-1 grind started here. The Tomb Guardian comes back, which is a big deal for the Khemri.
Alright, you done?
No knocked out on either side. The Khemri are now setting up.
Sweet. I'm gonna go get a substance that isn't an intoxicant for a moment.
You can get intoxicants. This is Canada. It's all legal. I don't think it's against TOS. So the Bretts are on offense now, and it's 1-1. So this is the sort of standard 2-1 grind. The Khemri are not particularly pleased about. As we mentioned before, Khemri will often lose when they're outscored.
Yeah, this is. I mean, especially as Calric still has Wizard, this is not the Khemri's game to win. Like, I mean, they're the Khemri, or the Bretonnians' game to lose. Essentially,
yeah, the Bretonnians, you either they can quick score, they can slow score. It entirely depends on whatever position they happen to find themselves in, and then they have that Wizard for defense either way. A Riot is a thing that probably benefits the Bretonnians more than the Khemri at this point. So it's looking pretty good for the Bretonnians. Although if that peasant touchdown didn't happen, it would be a lot different here. That's a regen, continuing with today's theme of working regens.
Still a removal for the half, though, which is a big deal.
That's true. Yeah, probably the least important removal, but a removal nonetheless. And it's so weird seeing Bretonnians played right. I played Bretonnians in 1 minute with a stupid theme, so it's very weird to me to watch Bretonnians like actually played correctly, rather than with my dumb theme in mind. I get to open a booster pack, don't I? Is that achievement?
You too.
Handy. Do I just roll?
You got 2 achievements, you noticed, right?
Yeah, but one is just 5 gold, which doesn't let me do anything right now. The other one is a booster pack. Is like I just have to roll open booster or whatever, but it's credited free because I got the achievement, I guess.
No, the achievement adds gold to your account.
No, one of them is a booster pack was the reward. Not 10 gold.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So is it just like the player pack at the start where like I have one
I think
free
you
booster
got a
pack credit? Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
I'll have to open that after this and see what happens. In comes the Blitz. Hitting that Agi 4, Arthur Pendragon. He is armor 7. Pretty tempting target. But not finding the knockdown. Getting those Tomb Guardians nice and involved. This lets Zug hit him, if you would like.
No, it doesn't. How's he going to get an assist on this Tomb Guardian?
He did have a free assist from the Peasant until the other Tomb Guardian moved. Turns out...
No longer.
Casting is real time. Yes, no longer free hit. Because the guard for the Bretonnians is out for this game because of that injury earlier, which is really unfortunate because it's would allow things like this to go a lot more smoothly for him. That one extra free assist. We do take the 1 die because block is a thing, but that didn't work. We don't reroll because loner. Probably pretty smart, considering the ball is relatively safe. Just unfortunate, not really what you wanted to happen there, but I think it's probably the right choice on all counts for Cleric. Might as well take that 1 die. Grab, fend! Interactions. What's that interaction that causes things to break? Is it like the grab sidestep interaction that makes the game crash sometimes?
Grab, sidestep, POW on a blotcher, I think.
Because that was a thing that happened like last season in the playoffs, yeah.
In overtime.
Not a thing you see very often, but apparently a bug.
That Juggernaut Blitzer really doing work this game.
Juggernaut,
Khemri
good
probably
skill.
feeling pretty fenced in right now.
Well, they're fencing in the Bretonnians as well.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep mixing up the two for no reason at all.
They're both fancy nobles. One of them is just more bony than the other.
Slightly. I was saying the Bretonnians should probably feel pretty fenced in this turn. They're going to try to switch sides here, I think, and leave these 2 Tomb Guardians in the dust, but that's not easy. They don't have their fast pieces well positioned.
No, not really.
Kind of get a little screened off over here, but not like... Not of the utmost security or anything. I mean, against Khemri, you don't really need an incredibly tight screen.
No, the 3+ dodge is not really an option, like it is for most other teams. It's so hard to tell the difference between peasants and skeletons. They're both useless and underfed. Peasant sounds.
Just peasant sounds.
We're gonna punch the crap out of Zug, though, I imagine. Can't really get after the ball, so hit the other important things. The Bone Man. Just a push.
I don't know why he brought this dirty player skeleton over. The dirty player skeleton wasn't doing anything, was he? Or I guess he was making it so that Ohak and Mechas couldn't take a block because there's technically a peasant hiding back.
Yeah, it was he was blitzing with the Bone Man on him and just pushed him backwards.
Oh no, I was talking about Skinny Pete.
Where is Skinny Pete? Oh, I see. Yes, I found
Really
it.
not important.
You're not important. Yeah, since it's basically just like you said, the
Oh, goes for the fireball here.
Oh, I haven't seen that. There's the fireball. If we get enough knockdowns here, we open up a hole in the middle. And that's enough knockdowns. Oh boy.
Even getting a break on the Bone Man from the Mighty Blow fireball, leaving a wide open hole in the middle of this defense.
What I was going to say, that's also another removal. Well, that was a good turn
one too, because that was the sacker.
That's a good turn.
It's aight.
What I was going to say is that, you know, what you said kind of came true, in that since the Bretonnians wanted to reposition more to the left, but didn't have enough speedy players available to make it as good as they'd like, so the Khemri were able to move most of their team over. But it did stretch them thin enough that apparently a God Fireball will do the job. And boy, was that
very difficult for the Khemri to get in the way here.
Especially with that Tomb Guardian going down as well. Basically, the whole Bretonnian team is now behind the whole Khemri team, which is a nightmare scenario for this Khemri. Cleric plays, yeah, with it all out on the table, certainly.
He needed at least 2 of those to go down, so he needed he needed a high roll. He needed a high roll for it even to be, like, good.
Yeah, I mean, it worked really well for him. But it's a little scary.
100% knockdown fireballs often work really well for you.
It's true. He would have been in a pretty good situation if he just managed to find his way through the Khemri wall at any point. Not having to use the wizard would have been better, obviously, because then it basically guarantees your defense. But that fireball doing that, getting your whole team through, you're going to easily be able to stall here for till at least 15, and then you're not worried about the Khemri anymore at all. 16 in an ideal world, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, McMacky is preying on a 1 in 36 from this G player.
People do not use wizards that often in that way because it's statistically unlikely to work. And to be fair, the one of the biggest values a wizard has is just the threat of the wizard existing, right? As an elf team, getting a wizard, your bash opponent now is highly motivated to score on turn 7 instead of turn 8, because if you don't, you lightning bolt them and then you pick up the ball and they don't score. And if they score on turn 7, that gives you a 2-turn, and generally elf teams or speed teams are very good at 2-turning. So like just the threat of a wizard is often like worth it just in and of itself, let alone the actual use of the wizard. We're going to punch Wrecking Ball Ron, the only credible threat here. He goes down, so is now physically out of range of the ball, and the Bretonnians are pretty pleased about the position they're in right now. Although, like, I harp on fireball use. I've used so many fireballs because I'm like, it's fun, honestly. It's like, the better thing to do is hold on to this for lightning bolts, but right now I can fireball like 6 of his players, and 3 of them are good players, so I'm gonna fireball. And then, of course, it works out because, you know, I find that I'm rewarded for fun in Blood Bowl.
I would agree. Your best teams are your stupidest ones.
It's very true. Like, I'm rewarded for making the fun plays often, and punished for making the correct plays. At one point, I went on a streak where I had I counted for a very long time, and of 8 wizards, I rolled 1s on 7 of them for lightning bolts. Over the course of like 3 seasons.
He didn't need all the knockdowns to travel Scrabble, but I think he needed at least 2 for it to be a credible like hole, and 2 is already above average. If your like baseline requirement is that you high roll, it's probably it either better be a desperate play or it's not a good play, right? Like if it's your best option because everything else is even worse, then that's fine. But it's not a great play to be lining up as your like Hail Mary.
Not necessarily. I mean, the big thing is, though, that he did have the ball in Agi 4, and I don't remember, but I don't think much tackle was in that, if any, was in that fireball thing. So even if he got 1 knockdown, at worst, he's getting a 2+ dodge out of it. Because the Agi 4...
Yeah, but the bigger problem was that you needed to filter a lot of players through, and that you needed to sack the guy he ended up KOing. So, like, I think you could have probably popped through with 2 knockdowns, maybe even with 1. But there was no way to really, I think, deal with the...
He could have likely gotten both Agi blitzers through, and then I think he's probably, like, if he didn't get the God Fireball, he could have gotten some players through, and I think it probably would have just meant him scoring, like, a turn or 2 earlier, rather than being able to stall.
Mighty Blow not doing it on Companion, who is fine.
Juggernaut, sidestep. He's fine.
Looks like the Khemri have correctly noticed that they're not winning this one, so they're just taking some pot shots in the.
Yeah,
just really got like out everything in this second half. All the remove.
It turns out he's not particularly winning. It would have been really good because it basically secured his first place spot. But even a loss here, he's still in playoffs. So at this point, it's about I'm probably still going to playoffs, protect the good players, grab some more SPP. Hope we can get a better shot at him.
The skull there means that he's not taking a mighty blow hit next turn. So I'm alright. Gonna see a 3-die here, I think, onto this skeleton before we score. The sellsword, I like that.
Yeah, a little bit more SPP potentially on a fresh blocker because a level on him would be guard certainly, and dear lord, does this team want some guard?
Alas, no dice.
Well, I should say he's guaranteed to go to postseason. I think there, as Tself points out in chat, I think there's ways just that he can make Challengers Cup instead of playoffs because of this loss here. As both Div 1 and all of Div 2 is pretty tight.
We're getting 2 KOs back.
Although we are kind of banking on the Khemri 1 turn here, which I have seen done, actually.
Did it involve a quick snap?
No, you can do it with all the chain pushes. It just takes all 11 players and a shitload of dice. Grab is also handy for that, though, and he has some. You can 1 turn with movement 6. It's just literally it's 10 players on the line worth of chain pushing and then a pass with the 1 guy you leave in the backfield to pick up the ball. So possible, but not great. Yeah, Tself wrote up all the options for Div 1 and sent them to me, so I will read them without having vetted them first. So if any of them are wrong, blame Tself. Fireball play was fun, and it worked out really well for him here. I like unconventional plays sometimes. There's been a lot of good plays in this game. A couple really cool chain pushes from both sides.
And not like incredibly complicated stuff, but certainly like good to spot it.
Yeah, for sure.
A way of increasing your odds,
Well, that's a quick snap. If only we had set up for it.
Chooses to quick snap off so he can try to do a vanity pass on Claw Killer Clint.
Yeah,
presumably so he can roll doubles for Mighty Blow, because you can't be a Claw Killer without Mighty Blow.
That's very true. Got it! Easy!
Casual 5+.
Red Joker almost did it this season. That move 6-1 turn. Failed the dodge into the end zone. I think it was on somebody's stream. It was somebody playing CCL. Like, it was either Andy or Sage or somebody who streams CCL sometimes. I think it might have been Andy Davo, playing in CCL, and his opponent was Khemri, and then like pulled off the one turn with the movement 6, which is pretty impressive.
Is he attempting to 3-die Zug? Can you? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can.
We're gonna 3-die the Mighty Zug.
Yeah, indeed.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen a strength 5 guy 3-died.
Is rewarded for it.
Well, sort of. I mean, we knock him down, but no SPP out of it. Here comes that vanity pass. Let's go, Claw Killer. Oh, failed the pass. We re-roll it. Failed it again. It's inaccurate. No. Well, we tried.
Throwing it out of the body of a peasant as one last fuck you.
Just spike the ball into the peasant's stomach. Mighty Zug eating up MVP, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But Galeric is happy about taking that win.
I mean, he got nearly as many armor breaks on half as many blocks. So, yeah. Probably pretty...
Well, we're in Div 1 here. We might as well finish it up. So we had predicted that the Khemri were going to take that one, and we were wrong. So, there you go. -1 point to start.
And the first game, ours Gotia versus Fear and Bloating, I predicted the Nurgle and you predicted the Chaos, and then they tied.
Very fitting.
Chaos not winning, despite getting 25 armor breaks on 31 blocks.
They like pitch cleared each other. 7 casualties sustained by both sides.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Neither team having players left. Good lord.
Mutual pitch clear.
Yeah, well, that would explain a 1-1 to me. I mean, it's...
Goats having a 26% successful armor rate is something.
I think...
okay, every hit was 6/6 on something. It's just like a high rolly sort of game.
Yeah, that happens in Chaos or Chaos Nurgle Mirrors pretty frequently. Like, on your offensive drive, you just beat the bejesus out of your opponent. And then, you know, a lot of them are KOs or regens, or like both sides have big benches. And then the, you know, half flips, and then the exact opposite thing happens, right? Like, the second half, the other team beats the crap out of the first team. And then you end up 1-1 with a boatload of casualties on both sides. I've been in those types of games before. High Fivers and Nurgle FTDs, another draw in which we had predicted the Nurgle would take this one. So more no points. The MVP Rodder died, so that's unfortunate.
Classic Rodder move.
Yeah, stealing the
level
SPP
up on
and dying.
Mixley, the movement busted MNG'd White. He's picked up Stand Firm as his final skill.
It's like a good skill, especially as a movement bust. Saves that a little bit for...
Oh, apparently the other White died as High Fivers team continues to disintegrate.
Oh, good. Excellent. That's just what you want. Yeah. 4 casualties, 6 casualties, pretty even number of blocks. Similar thing, probably, but with a lot of damage. Both sides punching their way up the field and doing things and scoring, but then not being able to convert the second time.
And Pantheon Passers versus Ace Truck & Co. I believe I bet against Tself out of spite, and I have lost points.
I think you. I think we both predicted Tself.
Now you've got the Pro Elves. Did I write this down wrong?
Well, let me scroll back in our Facebook conversation, because that's where you send me these things, and I will confirm. You sent me that we both predicted Pro Elves for Pro Elves versus
I must just have this written down wrong. All right, cool. That makes more sense, because I was like, looking at this game, I would expect Tself to win this, even if I have spite called him out of the playoffs.
No, we did both predict Pantheon Passers, and that's a big deal for Tself. Both of these teams had Kix had an outside chance of the playoffs, and he really needed to win this one to grab it. But Tself was on the fringes of playoff qualification. So any win and any extra points is good to make sure he stays in those like sort of top 5 spots.
Yeah, he got 68 blocks, 27 armor breaks, but just could not punch the elves down.
2 casualties and 6
not,
KOs.
Not dying. Yeah.
With although we had 7 failed KO wake ups for Tself.
Yeah, but even it's like probably not enough, even the KOs.
No, with how ridiculous some of the elves on Tself's team are, if those KOs aren't on the right players, this elf team can win with like, you know, just a couple of key players. So you have to make the KOs have to be on the important players, and then they have to stay out. So not managing the right removals at the right time, it seems. So Tself just scoring whenever he wants, I feel like, in this position.
And then we had High Elves versus Nurgles. Nurgle, we both predicted the High Elves would win, and they lost 2-0.
Oh boy. Well, that could change the some playoff standings as well.
Yeah,
for,
this is a big loss for sure. Bodie Green's getting an important win where they pitch cleared Snow.
Was it just a pitch clear?
I assume you're being sarcastic, Travis. It was basically a pitch clear. There were 6 KOs, 5 casualties, 2 deaths. 5 casualties are included in the 2 deaths are included in the 5 casualties, of course, but that still, you know, is a fun thing to list.
And 0 for the
Greens dodged 13 times and did it successfully 11 times.
Damn.
A bit of elfing.
But here you go. Very, very low number of D6 rolls as a bash team is a very good sign for said bash team. Ideally, you want them in the single digits. Not quite there, but almost. Weirdly high number of 3s, but, you know. Or weirdly low number of 6s, I suppose, depending on how you want to look at it.
No high variance. Not a lot of 1s, not a lot of 6s.
We just watched Khemri do it.
We watched Rebellious Signs versus Archangel's Will. We both predicted the Wood Elves would win this, and they lost.
Yeah, we kind of thought that
another very important game for the playoff consideration and the Sippy Cup.
Yeah, a lot of the teams that were sort of capable of qualifying with wins not getting the wins they needed this week. Very interesting. Yeah, we expected Archangel's Will to win this one. Sort of with he had the Mighty Blow in the Elf matchup. We thought he was a slightly elfier Elf team. Apparently, it didn't work out that way. Getting beaten up by those Dark Elves, the Mighty Blow not doing anything. Dark Elves taking 1 KO to the 4 casualties and 3 KOs of the Wood Elves. So that's going to be a lot of it. Archangel's very close.
Thunderstorm rolling in, so I might suddenly go offline.
Well, if you do, I can continue solo, I suppose. Archangel was so close, apparently, and had this game in the most ridiculous scatter. So for Velociraptor, Archangel almost taking it apparently, but not quite good enough, especially the removals he took. Yeah,
fewer ones, and also in this case, who punches the shit out of each other. But
yes,
yeah, shit happens.
No, we assumed that the Elves.
Desserts. I predicted the Necro would win. You predicted the Nurgle.
Damn,
I was right.
Staticus is predicting me literally to win literally every game this season. I had to back him, and I had to support him for that, and he's letting me down. Staticus.
I mean, he did Kaz the shit out of Scooby and the gang. They sustained 6 casualties and a death. Now, how many
you
of those?
Letting me down.
Not a lot. Sustained 5 casualties and only 2 of them regened. So not even average.
No, about as close as it can be.
The
0% for Staticus though.
Yeah, but only 2 Kazes, so not really a big deal.
Below average as well.
Yeah, so big game, but Scooby and the Game able to pull out a win despite some damage, perhaps. There was some damage sustained by the Crunchy Desserts outside of blocks, it looks like. Not a lot, actually.
Wolf's too strong.
Wolves are too strong. If things don't go right and the Wolves are able to outdistance the Nurgle, there's not a lot they can do.
0% Tentacles. Tentacles doing its job. Excellent. I like it when Tentacles works.
I know. It's just very cathartic for you. So we have both garnered -3 points in this division.
Good. Nothing has been played this season or this week yet. So
nothing has been played this season. Nothing
happened.
Goodbye.
So we can take a look at the leaderboard and sort of have it be meaningful. Is what I'm trying to say without having to do math. I will also run Drenner's handy dandy diff predictor in the background. So right now, Scooby and the gang, Travel Scrabble, taking that top spot over McMacky. Can we do it? Yes, we can, because of the win and loss, respectively, between those teams. ArchXL, you can see how much a win would have mattered to him here. Would have catapulted him up into second over McMacky. Archangel as well.
It's kind of a weird week where everyone who, like 3 out of the 4 top place teams lost, so there were 3 upsets. So it kind of mostly canceled out among, like, because a lot of the time it was like people who were lower, much lower in the table beating people who were much higher. So like the people who were lower didn't really gain a lot from the wins, and the people who were losing didn't lose a lot from the losses because all of the other high table people were also losing. So it was kind of a weird week.
It was a weird week, but a win for any one of those teams would have shaken this up a lot, right? Like ArchXL or Archangel winning would have catapulted them to second, and now they're tied in third, I guess.
Yeah, Travel Scrabble can only fall to second. Yeah. If he loses and McMacky wins, he falls to second. That's the lowest he can.
And the win for Tself, actually, and the loss for them puts him only 1 point behind those 2 teams. So there's quite a lot of changing that can happen here in this div. Let's see. Tself sent me some things.
The only person Travel Scrabble cares about is McMacky. It's the only person who can push him out of first. And if he gets tie, he probably wins, because I imagine McMackie's TD differential is lower, but so they would be tied to them.
Tself did some math, I guess, and sent me the following. There's a lot of playoff scenarios for this. So first of all, if we bring up the diff predictor, you can probably get a better idea of what we're talking about here. So Scooby and the gang has made it. They are going to the playoffs 100%. They can switch between first and second place depending on what other happens. So they may or may not get that bye position, which is a pretty big deal. They're going to the playoffs. The other person who can get that bye position is Can We Do It? Yes, we can. But they do have a chance of falling all the way down to 5th to go to the Challengers Cup instead. So McMacky, if he gets a draw this week, he is 100% going to playoffs, and he can steal back the bye week with a win and Travel Scrabble losing specifically. ArchXL will, and not an anime sports team, will go to the playoffs with a win. Archangel is the same. They're both at 6 wins. Once again, basically guaranteed, or not quite guaranteed to go to the postseason, but all but. Then Tself has some situations. So Tself with a win will get a playoff spot if one of the following things happen. McMacky loses. ArchXL draws or loses. Archangel draws or loses. If Tself gets a draw, he can make it if with ArchXL losing, Archangel losing, and Z-Zeta not winning by 3 touchdowns and Choleric not winning by 4 touchdowns. It only gets worse, folks. So Z-Zeta, Arzgochia, there's still a chance for both playoffs and the Challengers Cup. He can, with a win, he needs 2 of the following things to happen to go to playoffs. A loss from ArchXL, a loss from Archangel, a Tself loss, or a Tself draw, and Z-Zeta's win is by 3 or more touchdowns. Or if all 3 happen, Choleric and wins by 3 more touchdowns than Z-Zeta does, is the other way that doesn't work. There's still more. Battle Brothers is the last team with a chance to make it to playoffs. Fear and Bloating has a very outside chance at the Challengers Cup, but I'm not gonna figure that one out because that's basically everybody else losing, I think. But Choleric, if he wins, needs 3 of the following things to occur: ArchXL losing, Archangel losing, Tself losing or drawing, where Choleric wins by 4 or more touchdowns, or Z-Zeta draw / losing, or Z-Zeta wins but by 3 less than Choleric does. There you go. Thanks Tself for that one, because there's no way I was working that out. Oh, apparently there's some wrongness there. McMacky would win on touchdowns differential.
Well, that's from what I was saying earlier. There's nothing wrong from what you just said.
Oh, I see. Yes. Okay. Good.
That message is
good. Sorry, I was not looking at chat. I was looking at other things. Thanks Tself for all those. A lot of cool stuff happening in that division. The end result is basically Scooby and the gang and McMacky are pretty much going. Very unlikely that the Khemri don't go. And then some combination of Archixel, Archangel, Tself, Zeta, and Choleric are going, depending what happens this week. So pretty big week coming up, certainly. So let's see what those matches are and how that's gonna shake out, shall we?
Sure, let's do some predictions.
Archangel's will, and Fear and Bloating. So Archangel needs to win this one. Red Joker needs this if he wants to have an outside shot at Challenger's Cup. So we will see. Ooh, that's a lot of Mighty Blow, and a lot of tackle for...
Archangel is good against Nurgle. I just auto vote Archangel.
That's very true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 3 more, so that's another 210. So he's at 1850 versus the Red Joker's 2100. Yeah, that's a wizard.
20, 40, but yeah. Still a wizard.
That's still a wizard. Archangel with a wizard against Nurgle is pretty terrifying, but that's a lot of Mighty Blow and tackle.
Doesn't matter. If you can't get it, if you can't force the Wood Elves to stay still, all that Mighty Blow and tackle isn't really going to do that much for you.
That's very true. I mean, I think on average, Archixel probably takes this one. If the removal dice go Red Joker's way, he can win this. Like, either it's going to be a very convincing win for the Red Joker, like he's just going to annihilate the Elves and then win, or the Elves win, kind of in any other situation. If it's not incredibly convincing and very commanding for the Red Joker, I think Archangel is going to take it.
What about Battle Brothers versus Grungy Desserts?
Well, the Battle Brothers need to win this one, as we just were talking about. Grungy Desserts is Stouticus with the Nurgle team with a lot of tentacles.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty tough one for the Bretonnians. They are back to full strength. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they have one bench. But I still think this is going to be pretty hard. If they don't, they're going to probably crumple. Like they're going to be getting hit by a lot of really serious stuff.
Yeah, 200k is a thing that exists. So that's another wizard, and we saw what Cleric can do with a wizard. But I feel like the Claw Mighty Blow is going to be pretty terrifying against this team. There is only 2 guard. It's difficult for Bretonnians to get guard sometimes, but
and the beast is big here because it can kind of help pin down any dodgier types they can get a hold of.
Yeah, the Nurgle are gonna have a very easy time on offense. The Khemri or the Bretonnians are not really gonna be able to get rid of the ball. And there's if the Mighty Blow Claw fires, I think the Nurgle take this one. Honestly, unfortunately for Cleric, but if it doesn't, Cleric has a shot. But I think on average, the Nurgle will probably grab this one. But it could go either way.
Non-enemy sports teams versus Scooby and the gang. This is a big game.
It is.
So this is first versus third. Travel Scrabble doesn't care too much about this game. Like, he really wants to stay in... He wants at least a tie so he can stay in first, because that gives him a bye going into the playoffs, which is, of course, huge. It's one less game you have to play. It's free SPP, etc.
Yep. And this is a win at all costs for Tself, I think, if he wants to make it.
Yeah, so Archixel's team is a little battered from last week. They've only got they've got the 2 blitzers, but one's a rookie because apparently one of them died. They've got the 3 catchers.
You're looking at the wrong team.
The bits they need. It's not an enemy sports team.
No, it's not. It is Scooby and the gang. Or wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Right team. I was thinking of the wrong team. I was looking at the second team in the same matchup.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, rookie blitzer.
I mean, like, this is going to be... Oh, Travel Scrabble is out something, though, because his TV is way down. Oh, he's out his plus strength ghoul.
He's also out a zombie.
He is also out a zombie.
So no sure hands.
He's not going to have sure hands, and that's a big deal. I think there's a stripper on Archixel's.
There is. It's a strength leap stripper, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of changes things a bit.
Two loners for the High Elves is going to put them at 1610. So they get they still get a wizard.
Rulers put them at 1610.
So yeah, a wizard and the lack of sure hands, I think, is gonna make this pretty difficult for Travel Scrabble, especially since he doesn't actually.
Not at 1610, man. You can't do math. It's 1710.
1710. Yes.
So if he gets a wizard, if he wants it, he's probably gonna take it. And a wizard...
well, he won't if it's 1710, which it is because I can't do math. He gets 70k.
Yeah, because there's 70k linemen.
He could scum a whiz with 70k.
Yeah, he's probably going to.
And I think he probably do in this situation because it's a must win for you, so it's a pretty big deal, and it gives you a pretty big advantage to take the wizard.
He does not have a 200k bank.
He's a 100k bank.
I think he might have bought something.
But it's still good enough. He's gonna spend almost his entire bank to scum it, but I think it's probably worth it in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think ArchXL is slightly favored. I mean, there's still the crazy wolves to deal with, but the no sure hands means he's going to have to be careful not to get fairly casually sacked at any given moment.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bit tough.
It's a hard one.
Comedy blow thing.
It's a hard one to predict. I mean, Travel Scrabble has done very well this season. It's hard to argue that. And he's got a lot of really good players, right? Like the Agi 5 Wolf, the Agi 4 Strength 4 White.
Strength up Wolf does not have tackle. He chose to give him defensive skills instead.
The Agi 5 Wolf has tackle, though.
Yeah, but the Agi 5 Wolf doesn't have money blow. So you kind of have to pick your poison, and a lot of the times when you're picking your poison versus elves and you're not getting that Claw Mighty Blow hit, you're like causing a lot less attrition than you need. That said, he does have dirty... Oh, he doesn't have dirty player. That's a big deal.
If he fires a zombie, I don't think a wizard can be scummed anymore.
I mean, you should probably do that. Just fire the niggled one anyway. You wanted to.
I guess it depends on how much you value the bye week, really. The bye week is pretty valuable. It depends on how much you care about that, I think.
I mean, I care about it, a niggled zombie. That's a pretty trivial amount of thing to care about, like a unit of caring. Well,
I'm just trying when I'm trying to think about like who wins this, like, you know, ArchXL is probably more motivated to win on the one hand, but like not really, depending on how much Travel Scrabble values the buy is what I'm trying to segue into. I think
the buy is very valuable. It's not worth like crushing your team about, but it's definitely worth like expending a bit.
You know what?
So I think if he goes to no wizard, I think it's a bit more of an even matchup, but it's still a lot of the time to hit the blodgers and stuff, he's gonna kind of have to make an awkward choice.
Yeah.
Excel does have some blodgers, not that many though.
God, this is such a hard choice. I picked Travel Scrabble. I'm gonna go for it.
Alright, I'll pick ArchXL for fun.
We'll go opposite. I think that Travel Scrabble has done well, and I think he's got the right players to do these things. And if he fires that zombie to deny the wizard, it makes it a pretty big difference in the long run. And he's going to want to win to secure that, or at least draw. And either way, I don't lose points to try and secure that buy spot. So I think that's a big deal.
This elf does not have Mighty Blow, so you're set on that front.
Ace Trucking Co. and Rebellious Scions. So we've got Kix and a Velociraptor, 1880 and 1830, respectively. Well, this is Chorf versus Dark Elves, and it's...
His Dark Elves are getting more unfair, it must be said. We talked about how utterly fair they are, but he's
they're not fair anymore.
Another plus strength on Lewis REL. So now he's got 2 plus strength guys, and Ren Bull has rolled a double at some point for guard. So now he's a strength 4 blodge step fend guard piece. Which is pretty good.
Those elves are not fair anymore.
They're not fair anymore, but they're going into Chorfs. Dark Elves are not really fast enough most of the time to like keep their alignment away from Chorfs, and Chorfs have Claw Mighty Blow to deal with their armor 8 and tackle spam to deal with their blodge spam.
Yeah,
not a great matchup traditionally for Dark Elves.
Yeah, and Secretariat is a pretty good bull centaur for this situation. We do have the sure hands. Not that particularly matters. I mean, I think those blitzers are going to be super annoying for the Chorfs. But if they get, like, any removals, it's going to be pretty nice for the Chorfs, and they're pretty likely to get removals here. So I think I want to... on the one hand, I want to take the Chorfs. On the other hand, we saw Rebellious Scions beat Archangel's Will last week, so they maybe on a hot streak. I don't know. It's tough again, but I think I probably like the Chorfs for this one.
Cool beans. Nurgle FTDs versus Khemri do it. Yes, we can. This is going to be an interesting one.
The Khemri really want this one again to try to guarantee that a playoff spot. They have their full team.
High Lord Salt has, he's missing one of his best Nurgle warriors.
Yeah, and
he's down 2. So he's got 1 developed Nurgle warrior with Claw Mighty Blow. He's got Scrotus, and that's kind of it. And he's got no bench.
Yep, Nurgle.
I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, Nurgle getting inducements is bad because Nurgle inducements are bad. You're gonna have exactly 3 ablative rotters to try to deal with those Tomb Guardians and/or be line fodder, and after that, you're putting on good players. You're missing one of the Claw Mighty Blow, so you've got another one. You've got 2 guard. One of them is on a Beast of Nurgle, which is like a good place to have guard, but it's kind of immobile to actually help you knock down those Tomb Guardians. Khemri, I think, feels Khemri to me. But if removals go Nurgle's way, it's possible. But I think that's what they're banking on here, sadly. And then in what is a mirror again for ZZeta, I guess we've got Chaos and Nurgle for the second time in a row. Arzgochia versus the Grody Greens.
Yeah, Grody Greens. Is it Stouticus?
No, it's Lazarus Diggs.
No, it's Crunchy Desserts. It's the team with your favorite player and then nothing else.
Yes, it's got Yazov Mucus. But he has 3 developed Nurgle warriors now with Block Guard, and one is Block Mighty Blow. And Tetanus Timmy, but yeah, right now this team is Yaz of Mucus, but Yaz is so good.
I don't think there are any Claw Mighty Blow star players on Nurgle. There is the Strength 5 Mighty Blow Block Dirty player Chaos Warrior.
Lord Borak.
Lord Borak. He is like 300k though, but he's very good, obviously. There's a bunch of really, really shitty Pestigors and Rotters.
There aren't any Pestigors.
Really? No? None?
Nope.
There was a weird one with a bunch of ball handling mutations.
No, that's only in tabletop. He does not exist in Blood Bowl 2.
Anyway,
Nurgle have Brick Farth, Grashnak Blackhoof, Lewd Grip Whiparm, which is the weird ball handling like Rotter, Borak the Despoiler, the Chaos Warrior with the Chainsaw, and Morgan Thorg.
So this is a Nurgle team with no bench, not a ton of support, and facing down a pretty punchy Chaos team, unless they took some damage.
They
are down a Chaos Warrior, but it is their worst one, so I think this probably goes to the Chaos. I mean,
I agree. When it comes down to
Chaos of the bench.
When it comes down to bash matchups, Chaos have the bench. Nurgle are getting inducements, which is never like if the Nurgle team is ever getting inducements in like a semi-mirror match, like against another bash team that want to do the same thing that you do, it is bad. So
usually means you don't have the ablative rotters to fall back on.
Yeah, you don't have the extra players, you don't have the fouling options. You generally
he's gonna get a wizard, which is not like nothing. Certainly, he's got a player.
It's not nothing, but it's not amazing for Nurgle, really. I mean, he does have a reasonable recovery piece, right? No, he doesn't. So never mind.
Pandemic Pete, which will do it on the 3+, but yeah, that's it.
No, I think that goes to ZZeta. And then High Fivers and Pantheon Passers. So this is one that matters quite a bit for Tself. 1870 Elf Pro Elves versus 1370 Necro, having lost their white.
The Necro without a team versus down both whites for this game. With 1 tackle.
Yep.
And not a team other than that versus Tself. I'm probably going to go with Tself on this one.
Yeah, me too. Let's, for fun, see what kind of inducements he gets.
So the Elves are actually at 1860 because they've got 11 players, but they've got 10k.
Okay, so 400 and if they're actually about 5, it's 490 if he's actually at 1860, right?
If he's got 10k, he could burn. Though, maybe would he even bother?
500k. Count Luther von Drakenborg is 390, who is the Strength 5 Agi 4. Like he's a vamp without Bloodlust. with block and sidestep.
Does he not have dodge?
No, he's got block, sidestep, regen, and hypnotic gaze, and he's 6'5", 4'9". He's a really good player.
Pretty good. Oh, he's armor 9 too.
Yes. Hack and slash, obviously. Jay Earlice is a weird one that no one ever takes. He's the ghoul. The catch, diving catch, dodge, sprint ghoul. Ramtut the Third is the break tackle, mighty blow, regen, wrestle, strength 6, Tomb Guardian. Setek is the like blitzer, the strength 4, block, break tackle, juggernaut, strip ball. And then
it's not totally useless against you, Tself, because you have a bunch of Nerves of Steel catchers. If you only had one scoring threat, you could just walk up and hypnogaze it so that you're at least forced to like dodge out into an end zone to try to catch a longer pass. That said, Sif Muna is pretty good at throwing long passes, so it's probably moot, broadly speaking.
I mean, yeah, I think it's probably Cheney and a wizard and then a bribe, I think, are probably good options. You can foul anybody you knock over. Cheney is another movement 8 to keep up with things, along with Wrestle Frenzy is kind of like pseudo tackle with strength 4.
Strength 4, yeah. So he's quite good. I like Cheney here.
And a wizard is a good option.
I still think Tself wins no matter what, so that's yeah.
Setek might be good. Does Tself have sure hands?
I don't think he's going to be in range. Is the problem though? He's not very fast.
It's movement 6.
BRB.
But yeah, I think I give it to Tself as well. So that's going to be REL 1, I suppose. So we should flip over to REL 2A. Interested to see how this plays out. We'll not confirming playoff coaches until the very last week of playoffs, or very last week of the season is quite a thing. Nothing played in 2A either because apparently people are slow this week. Weird. So let's see. So we had the Greenskin Brawlers versus Rats Against Teen Stars. We had both predicted the Orcs. I guess I need to make notes because Shadorra is gone. We had both predicted the Orcs for this one. Rats Against Teen Stars, Razzlestorm's team was a little bit beaten up. They were going to have a difficult time with this one, I think. And yeah, it shows. 47 blocks, 75% ball possession, 2 KOs sustained versus 8 KOs and 2 casualties. With 50% KO rolls. Like, this is the Orcs. They beat up the Skaven, they stall till turn 8, they score. They beat up the Skaven, they stall till turn 16, they score, I feel. Oh, they had an unplayed game. Well, that's unfortunate. Naughty people. Oh, I think it was this one, wasn't it? It was, yeah.
What are we looking at? 2A?
Yeah. And that how we predicted the Greenskin Brawlers because Razzlestorm didn't have much of a team, and we were correct. But 2A has not played any games this week, surprisingly. But it's because Felwith's Kawada Doll and Cogs of War didn't get played. It was an admin win for the Elves, it seems. Nurgle...
Hold on. Professor Chaos, I predicted you would come 4th, and you're currently 3rd, so I'm gonna need you to take a dive, son. Nothing personal. I know you're overachieving to get my approval. Daddy doesn't love you unless you come 4th. So...
fair. I mean, I didn't have Professor Chaos in there, so...
It's true. He's my boy. He's not your boy.
My boy, and the difference there is Fall, I think. Yeah. The Fallen Wonders.
I mean, both Fall and Professor Chaos have a good shot at coming 4th. I just require them to, we require them to do different things together.
Right, so where were we? Murderers Row and Reality Kings. This had already gotten played, I believe, so we didn't have a prediction for it. But Superfed turning things around and grabbing that win this time instead of having his whole team removed. Although he did have most of his team removed.
Yeah, they just survived.
Just survived and won, making it 1-0. Neither team ever really having the ball. Just a big punch fest. Probably, Superfed defending barely. How many leaps did he have to make is the question. 10. So tight game for Superfed with that many leaps. Failed 4 of them, for that matter. So a lot of them are probably rerolled. But Superfed, I guess, managing to defend and then sneaking in one of his sort of patented 2 or 3 turns.
Like nearly half of his bonus.
Oh, really? That bear is dumb.
4 out of 7.
Oh,
it's
boy.
really funny.
The bear that he bought for a game, it immediately got injured and now has rolled only boneheads.
Yeah, he must find that bear very
frustrating.
Very entertaining.
Rouge's Gallery and the Rowdy Rebel Rousers. Was this one that we had predicted? Nurgle and Chorf.
The Nurgle, the top of the table Nurgle to beat Rouge's Gallery, and they did. It was a punchy game.
Yeah, 58 Chorf's blocks, 46 blocks. The Chorf's doing more blocks, but getting the worst end of the injuries, it seems, and literally never having the ball. They've
never attempted a pickup. Attempted exactly 1 catch. So could have bounced into their hands.
Rouge's Gallery picked up the ball twice, but they never.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was at the very top, and reading is hard.
They just never ended their turn with the ball in their possession somehow.
They tried a handoff, I guess.
Or dodges. No. Yeah, there was at least 1 handoff attempt, and perhaps a dodge or something that failed. But no, there were no dodges, so I don't know how that happened. Going for it failure, I guess, is the only thing I can think of.
Going for it failure would do it, certainly.
Yeah, but like never finished the half or a turn with the ball in their hands, which is not a good way to win a game when you're in that kind of situation. And then the Nurgle out removing them, certainly not helping either.
Then in a big upset, Zons versus Norse. The Zons beat the Norse, who had 1 billion tackle.
Yeah, I think
the Norse made 72 blocks. Only getting 7 removals.
So you know what the best part about this is? I predicted the Zons to win this one. You predicted the Norse.
That's a point for you.
Boom. And it also helps me in the leaderboards because I have Fall predicted to go to the playoffs, and this certainly helps his playoff chances.
Oathblow getting a level up on Bam Bam the Berserker and rolling Agi for perhaps a new weird player to design that I
a new weird player.
I look forward to Pass Block followed by Thick Skull. Maybe
seems like a good combination.
How about Jump Up Sneaky Get?
Seems good.
Yeah.
It's so you can always get a run up.
Oh, he's already got Jump Up. Shit, that's only 1 skill. You can just pick up Sneaky Get.
Just take Sneaky Get because, you know, you have to, with the Jump Up, you can get maximum run up, and then you can get as much value out of that run up as possible because of Sneaky Get.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Know what I'm saying?
Fallen Wonders only making 1 of 3 attempted passes, but they do manage to take this one down 2-0. Cantankerous, and did they get removed a bunch or anything? I didn't even pay attention to that.
They sustained 70 blocks, but the
72 blocks. Good lord.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But not going out, which are invincible Amazons holding up their end of the bargain and making it 2-0. Cantankerous Creations and The Secret of My Success. This is Orcs versus Lizards, where I lose my points because you predicted Orcs and I predicted Lizards. I think this is one of those ones where I was sort of I kind of wanted the Orcs, but I was just trying to catch up on points more than anything else.
You were just like, I need to disagree with you.
Yeah, so that I can maybe get some points, but it didn't work out. The Secret of My Success.
It's definitely what you were doing for Fall as well.
Well, no, there was the extra element of I want Fall to win because I have him picked for playoffs, so it's like a little different, but there's some of that to it for sure. Yeah, the Orcs out blocking the Lizards, unsurprisingly, and out removing the Lizards. 5 casualties sustained for the Lizards is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of a spiral maybe that just made it hard for the Lizards to keep up.
Yeah, only 6 bonehead rolls attempted implies to me a removed Kroxigor at some point, which is not great for Lizards against Orcs that kind of need that strength to deal with.
If they lose it, they're in trouble.
Yeah. The Secret of My Success, not having to roll that many dice other than armor, which is always pretty good for Orcs, or bash teams in general. 1 attempted catch, 1 attempted pickup. Yeah. Worked out for the Orcs. Looked like they had that one mostly in control. It was only a 1-0 victory, so maybe they had it on control on their own drive after successfully defending, perhaps, but the removals working out on their favor to allow them to take that one down. Fogmire Fenbeasts and Thick, Rich, and Creamy we watched, so we don't need to take a look at that one. And neither of us predicted anything because it's already been played. And then Felwith's Quadadal, we had both predicted the High Elves, but I don't think this counts because it's an admin result.
Did not get played, it looks like, unfortunately. So
No.
the High Elves technically win it.
I mean, since we both
I'm gonna
predicted
award
the
myself.
Elves, it doesn't really matter if we give ourselves points or not for this one because it's
Makes us
functionally the
look
same.
better in the end, and I'm all about that.
Points
fudging
for
the numbers.
everyone.
We did much better in this division. Would you like to guess what our totals are?
Like 1,
No.
2,
No.
3.
Yeah.
Nice.
0 across the board again.
Did we get negative 3 in the
We're
last one?
exactly the same as coin flips.
For the last 2 weeks, yes, but overall, we're better than coin flips. So on average, we're better than coin flips, but not by a whole lot. So
But they're talking about you in REL chat right now.
are they?
Yeah, but whether you have a chance to go to playoffs.
I do.
I don't think I do.
I have to if Unseen Walker loses when he plays 30 minutes ago, I go guaranteed. If he wins or ties, then I have to win or tie against Steer tomorrow, and then I go. If I lose to Steer, I go to Sippy Cup. If I win or tie to Steer, I go.
I think if I win and Motley loses... Oh, we would be tied, and I assume he beats me on touchdown differential because he's Dark Elves.
I'm not
but if he
surprised.
didn't, I think I could tie for second. That's
I would not be surprised if Unseen Walker won. I think he was favored in that matchup, but I kind of needed him. I wanted him to lose, so I didn't have to worry too much about my game tomorrow. Especially since I'm missing my good Nurgle warrior for it. It's my only guard, and it's a Claw Mighty Blow Strength 4-piece against lizards, which is a huge deal. So I don't really like my chances tomorrow, but I need to win it to go to playoffs. Worst case, I go to Sippy Cup though. So
not about your bullshit. If I beat...
I thought you were going to be like, let's go back to the casting because we need to get this done and go to bed.
If I beat the Undead by 6 or more touchdowns, I go to the Sippy Cup.
There you go. Good luck.
That's all I need to do. You know, casual 6 TD game against Undead, at least.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased. Either way, I go to the postseason, whether it's the Challengers Cup or the playoffs. Obviously, I'd rather the playoffs, but I'm happy with the Challengers Cup as well. So I like to be in the position where
My team's in a good spot, but I think I'm okay not going to playoffs again.
My team's not really in a good spot, so I kind of want to go so that I can have my chance at glory. You know.
Only red Mar is my AV bust on my killer.
I have a double niggled Agi busted Chaos Warrior. The only original player left on the team who is block, mighty blow, claw, tackle, guard. Anyway, this is the leaderboard. So Atomex in first, solidly 8-2-2, has guaranteed his playoff spot. Is going, may or may not, similar to Travel Scrabble and the other div. He may or may not get that bye. It's possible that the Fogmire Fenbeasts overtakes him for the bye with a win, and he loses. I believe because of touchdown differential. But those are the only two teams that could possibly come first. Fogmire Fenbeasts, not necessarily guaranteed to go to playoffs because of how close 2A is, right? If you see Fogmire Fenbeasts, Greenskin Brawlers, Thick, Rich, and Creamy, Fallen Wonders, Reality Kings, and all have a good shot at going. They're all very close to each other in points. And then Felwith's Quadadal has a chance. It's not a good one, but they are not mathematically eliminated, certainly. Whereas below that, they are out. Doc M with the 606 record. No ties for you. The REBBL podcast.
I saw that actually when I was looking at this earlier, and I was like, yes.
The REBBL podcast would appreciate you. So let's if I pop up the div predictor, we can see what we're talking about here. So the Rowdy Rebel Rousers have got their 100% playoff chance, but they could go either second or first, depending. The only other person who could come first is Fogmire Fenbeasts. And then we see it sort of falls down a little bit from there, but it's like nobody is even in the other div. At least somebody was like 90% chance to make playoffs, 80% chance. It's like 60s and below for all these people because it's so up in the air between.
After the Rowdy Rebel Rousers, it's really close.
Yeah, between all of those teams, it's really, really close. There could be a lot of shuffling going on. The team currently in second has a chance to finish sixth, which is pretty impressive considering there's only 1 week left to go. It's not a great chance, but there's a chance, which shows you how close this div is. So all of these coaches.
I mean, in the final week, there is Arcade versus the Rowdy Rebel Rousers, so another huge game.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's being played as we speak.
Probably is.
Be like a super fed power move. You want to get into predictions?
Yeah, just all of these coaches are going to be kind of waiting with bated breath to see the other results from this week. There's a lot on the line.
There's a lot of important games. Fogmire Fenbeasts playing the Greenskin Brawlers,
which is the first one up.
Yeah, so we could look at that. But yeah, there's a lot of high-ranking teams playing right now. So.
Well, who do you want in the Fogmire Fenbeasts versus the Greenskin Brawlers?
I mean, that's a really complicated question to ask me. That
you kind of want him to lose, so he falls down, don't you?
I kind of want him to lose, but he's also my boy, and I want him to beat the stupid Frenzy Lizards.
I love the Frenzy Lizards. I predict the Frenzy Lizards. I have to predict the Frenzy Lizards after watching that last game. Ballsy play from Rolling Red, and I want to see more of it. So I'm gonna take the Lizards on this one.
This is hard.
It's really hard. It's a tough call. I mean, Professor Chaos has certainly showed that he knows how to play Orcs.
Even though it would be better for my predictions if he lost, I think Professor Chaos has got this. He's gonna have a wizard. The Lizards are only gonna have 11 players. I think he can do it.
Yeah, Professor Chaos has shown that he knows how to play a solid Orc game with the block guard sort of spam Orc style, which he has a lot of, and that's something that kind of Lizards are going to have a bit of difficulty dealing with, considering they don't have a whole lot of guard of their own. Well, they do actually, but more than I thought. Yeah, Professor Chaos knows how to play that matchup and has played Orcs well, so it's pretty close. But you know, I want to back Rolling Red.
Yeah, I figured.
Cantankerous Creations and Felwis Kawadadal. I mean, this one is Not for Science's insane busted glass cannon high elf team versus the busted lizard team.
A lizard team with 0 tackle, 0 sure hands. Like, I mean, it's gonna go to the elves probably. There's 2 diving tackle skinks, which is gonna be kind of funny. Strength up, blodge step, diving tackle skinks.
The lizards also get 600k in inducements. Or not quite, so like 500k, but yeah.
Slibbly and a wizard, but Slibbly's not that useful in this matchup.
No, I feel like this is
can't take
Elves.
the stab guy because you're fighting high elves, so they have mostly armor 8. Though it's color coded also.
So two of those armor 8 are actually armor 7.
So mostly they're armor 7. Or equal.
The one turner makes a pretty big is a pretty big deal in this matchup, though.
Yeah, I think it goes to the elves, but it's going to be an interesting match because of the inducements.
Yeah, I kind of want to see what inducements get taken for that one. There's a lot. Fallen Wonders versus Cogs of War. This is Amazons versus Dwarves, but the Cogs of War didn't show up for the last match, so who knows what's going on there. It's Amazons versus Dwarves, which, you know, is not favored for the Amazons really, but it is Death Roller Dwarves.
Yeah, but Death Roller is pretty good against Amazons because
that's true. It's not in their stadium.
Covering them up with tackle, they can't really get away with it or get away from it.
So it's not in the Dwarf Stadium, and the Amazons get inducements, so the Dwarves are not going to be able to keep that Death Roller on for more than one drive. They have a bench, so they can kind of choose when to field it if they want. But
yeah, and they have a lot more guard now, so they look more like a dwarf team.
They can do it. So if they field it on offense, certainly then they can go and slow roll it and get that Death Roller involved. Man, I want to predict Fall because I want him to win so that he stays in playoff contention. But it's really hard to predict Amazons in this matchup. The Dwarves have all the advantages they need for this one. Ton of guard, ton of tackle. They don't, and the Death Roller, they do have a Mighty Blow. 2 Mighty Blow.
So you're picking the Dwarfs?
No.
I'm picking Fall. Fuck you.
I'm picking Fall too because I want him to win. But honestly, this is a really hard match for him. I think those Dwarves are pretty terrifying.
I could very well see a tie, and I think a tie puts him likely in 4th. So.
Hey, we're not allowed to predict ties though.
We're not. I'm just saying.
We haven't been this whole season.
I know. I'm not going to predict one. I'm just saying it's probably going to be a tie, or it could very well be a tie. Rouge's Gallery versus Thick, Rich, and Creamy.
Chaos
How are
Dwarves
Thick,
and
Rich, and Creamy doing?
Jimmy Burrito. Jimothy Burrito.
El Padrecito is still alive because regen is a skill.
As we saw, regen is very much a skill for this team.
Yes. They are down a white still. They can buy a new one.
Down a guard zombie, but...
Down a guard zombie for this one. Because of the Agi bust on Trox birds, the only injury that stuck in their embarrassing... Well, not embarrassing, just like the utter crushing by the lizard.
Oof.
And they're playing against, who do we say? It was against Rouge's Gallery.
Yep. So Rouge's Gallery is actually missing 2 Chorf blockers, one of them being Turtle, the good one, the really good one.
Oh, well then I think this is probably going to go to the Necro because they've got
Yeah.
speed and the kill in some cases, like not totally, but that definitely significantly reduces the punching and standing power of the Chorf.
Yeah, they lose some guard, they lose some punching power, they lose some standing power, they lose 2 positionals in Chaos Dwarf blockers that they don't get because they have 11 players otherwise. So they're just playing this down some strength because they'll only have 4 Chorf blockers, and they'll have some extra hobgoblins lying around, which is not really how they want to be. So I feel like this one goes to Jimothy. Jimothy Burrito. Murderer's Row and A Secret of My Success. So we've got the Doc M's Necro, and we've got Russellford Seabutter's Orcs.
Good wolves.
Yeah. Have both whites, have both flesh golems. They're missing the ghoul.
Is Russellford still mega jacked?
He's pretty jacked. He's got the Strength 5 Black Orc. He's got the Agi 4 lineman.
Full strength.
Double or Strength 4 Agi 4 Blitzer. Agi 4 Blitzer. He's got 3 Agi 4 Orcs. These are elfy orcs. These are green elves.
I think I like Rusty for this.
I think I do as well. I mean, there's just so many stats there that the orcs are going to be able to utilize their strengths with. They outstrength the Necro, and that's even worse with the extra strength they have. And they are going to be outmoved quite a bit by the Necro, but that only really matters on the dwarf defensive drive. Whereas the offensive drive, they're just going to bash their way through. And with the defensive drive, we've got enough Black Orc strength that it might be difficult for the Necro to utilize that speed. So I think Wrestleford, my choice as well. Rats Against Teen Stars versus Oathblow. Well, Rats Against Teen Stars doesn't really exist anymore. So yes.
Non-team. It's up to 1380. It's got both Storm Vermin, and one of them rolled a double for Claw Fur.
Maybe it's not dead after all.
No, it's dead.
Well, he's for next season. May or may not reroll.
I think he's got that claw going into this Norse matchup.
Yeah, that helps a lot. So he's going to be at what, 1430 versus like 1700, 1730. So he gets 300. So he's going to get a wizard, and he's going to get one of the crazy star players. The tackle of the Norse, I think, makes a pretty big difference.
A lot of mighty blow. Well, not a lot of mighty blow, I should say, but there's definitely enough, like, to get a good blitz in every turn. There's a bunch of dirty player, a lot of dirty player. The Rats are gonna have a bit of a bench, I think, right? They're gonna have one bench if they buy a star player.
They're gonna have 0 bench if they buy. Oh yeah, they have 1 bench if they buy a star player. I don't know. It could go like Rats are still Rats, and they get inducements, and Rats with inducements are terrifying. But if I had to pick one of these teams to play in a matchup, I think I'd rather play the Norse. So that makes me want to pick the Norse for this one.
So you're gonna pick the Norse?
I do, yes.
I think I agree with you on that.
And then Reality Kings versus the Rowdy Rebel Rousers. This is a big one. Superfed needs to win this one for his playoff dreams. And the Rowdy Rebel Rousers want to win or draw, I think. Or no, they want to win this one to try to guarantee that bye position. So it matters a lot for both teams here. On the one hand, I want Superfed to get in because I predicted him, but on the other hand, so did you. So it doesn't actually, it's points neutral if he makes the playoffs right now.
He's down a guard.
He's down a guard.
He's down a blitzer. Oh, excuse me. So he's got 3 blitzers. God. He's gonna have all of his catchers.
This is like a superstar shootout match. It's like 21-30 Kislev and 24-10 Nurgle. This is insane.
So 1 bench versus like the highest TV team in the div.
highest TV team in like the league now. Maybe Feywith's Coatadol is higher. No, not anymore.
No, he's not. No.
Nope, that's Atomex.
Because of
What a Nurgle
Primal
team.
Gore the Rotter, mostly.
Primal Gore the Rotter.
Though Luminous rolling plus strength after rolling tentacles, or after picking tentacles, is just kind of like a nice big fuck you.
With super, yeah, I know, right? He rolled tentacles and then strength. Oh god, like so lucky, incredible. It's an absolutely incredible.
It means he's not getting stand firm until legend, though.
Oh no, your block guard mighty blow strength 5 tentacles guy is not getting stand firm till legend.
Imagine if that mighty blow was stand firm. I mean, it would be a terrible order to build a Nurgle warrior in.
Yes,
but that piece would be so good.
I pick Atomex. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Superfed is going to get a bunch of inducements, which are pretty good for him, especially if he gets a wizard. But with how his injury dice have been going lately and how punchy this Nurgle team is, I'm really scared for his team. I know that's a bad way to think about it because dice don't work that way, but psychology is playing a factor here. And plus,
I kind of want to vote against Superfed and then have him pull out like some big old fuck you and win.
That seems pretty typical of him. Yeah, if we predict against him,
will he get into playoffs if he wins?
He can make it.
He would be tied with. No, he would be. So he needs a ton of people to lose though to get to third.
Yeah. So if he wins, he goes to 7-3-3, which will put him above Jimmy Burrito and Fall if those guys lose.
Yeah, Jimmy Burrito and Fall need to lose.
And it also puts him above Professor Chaos, right?
Professor Chaos needs to lose.
Yes. So if a bunch of people lose and he wins, he can make it.
I think none of those people are playing each other, right?
No.
It was Fall's not playing. Yeah, they're not.
So it's entirely possible, but plus Atomex has been on a massive roll this season, doing really well. So probably feeling a little hot right now. So I'll give it to Atomex.
I agree.
And after those predictions and those leaderboards, that is us done. Let us bring up the title screen.
Go to sleep for it.
Yeah, getting there. Second last div review and the last one where we make predictions. So I think it's physically impossible for me to beat you in the points at this point, considering we're tied.
Good.
But we will do one more next week, postseason, so we can take a look at all our predictions, see who got the points, who was right, who's going to playoffs. Feel free to give me a whisper about your team status, like if you plan on re-rolling or not, so that we know when we take a look at them next week what to say about it. Probably we'll spend a little bit extra time on the teams that are going to playoffs and Challengers Cups in terms of like looking at the teams, just to
and probably look at their matchups if we can predict them.
Yeah, the draw for that I think is happening on Sunday, so we should know what the draws are for that next week, so we can take a look at those things, and that'll be the last week for us, and that'll be the last div review for us before playoffs. So I hope you guys are excited for playoffs. I'm excited for playoffs. A lot of action coming your way with 2 playoffs to cover.
Sports reporters, there's the minors playoffs on Sunday. This Sunday at 1800 UTC. I believe I've successfully coaxed both Metal and Herringzord into casting it.
Ooh, excellent.
Along with LEB, who covers the minors division most of the time.
And who are the minors coaches for that?
The minors coaches are Spoopy Mulder.
Spoopy.
Playing Lizards, and Mad Bomber 9, I believe. It's Mad Bomber some number. Playing Lizard.
That's Sunday. Check it out, folks.
It's a Lizard mirror.
I know.
Everyone loves a Lizard mirror.
Why do minors coaches that play Lizards do well in minors?
Because Lizards are
beginner friendly.
I think objectively the best 1600 TV team. In terms of teams that have played 15 to 25 matches, Lizards. That's certainly when Lizards are their strongest, and I think Lizards are the most dominant team in that TV range.
Yeah, and they're also relatively easy to get a hold of.
Idiot proof, yeah, totally. I wouldn't
necessarily say idiot proof.
I'm just kidding, but they're definitely
a good team to learn with. They're new friendly for learning. Certainly, you have
high movement, high strength, stunty. You've got a lot of tools that let you ignore mechanics.
And you can take advantage. You don't have to play one style, so you get a little bit of everything. You have the speed to deal with stuff. You also have the strength to deal with stuff. So they're a good team to learn on. Anyway, that's kind of irrelevant. But yeah, check that out on Sunday. look forward to both our final review and the playoffs. And assuming, I hope the Superstar Shootout happens again this year. That's so fun. So I assume that's the thing that'll be showing up soon. But
I'm no longer in a position to have my team members on it. I had 2 years in a row where my players were featured on it, and that was super exciting. Especially that time that Dr. Rubber killed Yob, which was probably the peak of my Blood Bowl career vicariously.
My only good players are players that are on my Nurgle team, and that can only happen on the Chaos God selection. So that's unlikely to happen. So we'll see.
I mean, we have 4 Nurgle in Div 1, so maybe they'll just say fuck it and
just
throw
make a Nurgle team
plus strength plus. They're just gonna make a team that's entirely plus strength plus agi pestigores.
It'll be great.
Rackle 2 heads.
But my only really good player is probably the Beast, and he gets out beasted by Yaza all day.
Yeah, Yaza's definitely the best.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody. We will be back next Thursday for the final Div review, and until then, I've been Steakmittens.
I'm sure.
And we will see you next time.